Good morning, new community. I grew up in a church that used the King James translation of the Bible exclusively. You might have had that experience as well. It was great, except for occasionally the language would cause me to question my reading comprehension abilities. I can remember as a child being in church, as reading scriptures out loud, and I'm looking around, people nodding their heads. Looks like everyone's understanding this. Looks like everyone's on board with this. So I guess I am as well. I was reading the last verse of this psalm today. In King James Version, it says, "He is terrible to the kings of the earth." And immediately I'm taken right back to that place of being a child, like, okay, I guess terrible is an okay thing. I guess it's a good thing. And of course, the author is not using the word terrible in the sense that we're used to. He's saying that God is worthy of being feared. But even that language, that contemporary language, can be a little misleading in terms of us understanding the character of God. And that's where the context comes in. That's where, the entire Psalm 76 that we're reading today really becomes very helpful, because the central truth that we can glean from it is that the power of God can for us be a source of awe and of reverence, or it could be a real source of dread. And that's all dependent on our relationship with Him. I'm going to summarize the chapter, but I want you to take some time to read it. It talks about God's reputation, the fact that God is victorious in battle, that He comes to defend His people. He's rebuking his enemies, His adversaries, and recounting His triumphs. It talks about God's holiness and the fact that He's our helper. And so, therefore, He's worthy of our highest devotion, our allegiance, our sacrifice, and keeping our word, keeping our promise to Him. And so it's an awesome chapter. I want you to take some time. Hopefully you get a good translation that you can actually understand. But as you're reading, it's so helpful to remember that God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And so the way that we experience His character, is dependent upon, again, our relationship with Him. And so the fact that God is mighty in battle can be a source of hope, because we can live every day in victory as His children. But as His enemies, it is a sure declaration of defeat. I'm reminded of Jesus as He was transfigured. The disciples fell on their feet in fear. And Jesus, the Bible says that Jesus touched them. And I believe that the same is true for us today, as we understand who God is, as we serve Him in humility, as we fall down in reverence to Him. He touches us and He draws us into His presence, into a deeper love and devotion for Him. So that's my prayer for all of us today, that we will grow deeper in love with our God.